know WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Well, folks, welcome back to the second half of the show. Again, we'll have some more Karen Hall, Yost Rudge on, especially if she qualifies. We just had a mix-up on time, so we only were able to speak with her for a few minutes, but I think it gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going on. In the next half hour, I have Jamie Bond, and she is with Place of Hope. Jamie, it is wonderful to see you again.
Always nice to see you.
And there's so many exciting news. I can't wait to get to it.
Yeah.
But before I do, Indiantown Marine Center strives to provide our customers with efficient and user-friendly location for servicing and storing their vessels while maintaining cleanliness, environmental quality, and safety. We provide dockage, travel lifts, workspace, long-term storage space, and other repair and maintenance services, as well as offering a convenient hurricane haul-out program. Indiantown Marine Center is a contractor yard and can provide a list of approved contractors that your customers or yourself can engage with no markup or gate fees. Customers are also welcome to bring their own contractor provided that pre-approval is given before starting work. Give them a call at 772-597-0800, 597-0800. And they also would like to remind everybody, please write the Secretary of Transportation in D.C. Ask them to fix a correct fix for the 100-year problem to the obstruction of what we call Florida's Panama Canal here, and that's the bridge here in Stewart. They really need a bigger fix than a 16-foot bridge to get some of these bigger ships through that, especially Indiantown Marine Center is going to be working on. So they would like your help by contacting the U.S. Department of Transportation. So, folks, we certainly have a lot of Meet Your Candidate series coming on, and next week I'm going to have somebody running for Florida Senate on the Republican ticket, John Columbus. He'll be calling into the show. But one of the favorite shows I like to do is just organizations here in the area that they are out there working hard and doing a lot of things. And we have so many organizations that compete for attention, compete for dollars. And I kind of was thinking about it, Jamie. I'm like, some of them seem to stand out, at least to me, more than others. And Place of Hope is certainly one of them. And honestly, Jamie, it's the people behind them that make that difference. And by that, you and your whole team. You've done a lot of work here. And, last night I saw a huge announcement on Facebook with Senator Harrell. So I'm going to let you share that huge news.
Yeah, well, and thank you so much for having me here. And it's such a pleasure to work alongside you and with everybody in the community. In Place of Hope, we're entering our 24th year of service. And that really is only possible because of God's provision and the support of people like yourselves in the community. So we cannot do what we do without you and without so many other voices and people that are supporting our community, because really these children and youth and families that are in our care, they're our community's children. And if we don't do something, who's going to? So our level of excellence, we hold ourselves to that, but we run in a circle with amazing people that also hold themselves to that accountability and that excellence. So we, one of the things that we do really well, our founding CEO, Charles Bender, has been there since day one, and he is an entrepreneur, and he comes to the table. We're a nonprofit, but we run a little bit differently than a lot of organizations, and that really is because of his leadership. But one of the things that we do really when we're coming to Tallahassee and legislating for dollars is to say, we're going to meet you. We're not just going to come with open hands, but we're going to show you what we've done. We're going to show you what your investment will go towards, what it has already gone towards. We come to the table and say, look, we are asking for a certain amount of money, and we're going to help match that. We're going to help get that. And we have Senator Harrell and John Snyder and Marilyn Magar she's still on our team, even though she's not, in Tallahassee lobbying for us. And at the time, Senate President Joe Negron, so many great people have stepped up to help us be our voice. And yes, we have been able to lobby for some big dollars.
Very much. I mean, this funding is extremely important. And Place of Hope, I was looking on your website, placeofhope.org, and since inception, 149 happy and healthy babies and their mothers served through Joanne's Cottage alone. 40,000 plus children, youth, and families served. 279 aged out or homeless youth and families found a place to call home through the Villages of Hope.
Yep.
375 forever families found for foster children through adoption. over 654 siblings were kept together.
Yeah.
Jamie, let's step back for a second.
Yeah.
What is Place of Hope?
So, that was a really nice synopsis of the impact that we're making as a community. But a lot of people have been supporters for so many years and don't realize what we're doing because we're doing so much. It didn't start that way. We grew from a very small organization with a heart and a mission to really serving the neediest in our community. So we are a children and families organization, period. We are serving for children who have been removed from their homes by DCF, Department of Children and Families, for imminent danger. That could be child abuse, neglect, abandonment, homelessness, poverty, and even human trafficking. We see a lot of familial trafficking. Out of the 4 types of trafficking there are, we primarily see familial trafficking. So these are kids that are being removed from care for those reasons, and they're placed in the state's foster care system, and then we're placing them in our neighborhood family-style foster homes, where we're modeling for them something they've never seen before. So it's a married couple in a home, modeling for them stability and safety and structure and going to school and accountability. If we're able to take them out of that survival mode and start to unpack some of those traumas and plant some seeds, and again, it's modeling. It's not just telling them something. As if they've lived their entire lives in the woods and they've never seen something. They've lived in such dysfunction and trauma. They've never seen what a married couple and stability looks like. We can't tell them and expect them to understand. So we're modeling that for them. We're really demonstrating that. And then we're caring for those who have aged out of foster care, so otherwise homeless youth. We started in 2001 taking your first child, and then in 2006 we opened our Villages of Hope program, and that really is serving those who have aged out of foster care. And we very quickly realized that not every youth who is over 18 years old that needs the support has the support. So a lot of the youth that we started to serve were community youth. So they were 19, 20 years old, and they were homeless. They maybe should have been in foster care, but they weren't. And they deserve that same second chance, that same opportunity. So Villages of Hope is affordable transitional housing, bridging young adults into healthy adulthood. And we serve up to about 28 years old. And then, inherently we've kind of been serving single mothers with children. It really has grown to be one of our largest populations that we're serving, the neediest, single moms facing imminent homelessness, sleeping on park benches, and that's not good for anyone. And then through everything, human trafficking victims and survivors, youth who are at risk. About 90% of our girls or females that have come through our care have been sexually exploited or abused. And so many of them could have been in that world of exploitation and trafficking and not really identified it, because it can happen at such a young age. Like I mentioned, familial trafficking is the what we see primarily, and we're serving boys and girls and adults and minors as well alike. And then you mentioned Joanne's Cottage, so that's our maternity home. Kind of in the middle of all of that, we realized that there was a true need for pregnant young teens. And if we don't, we're trying to break that cycle of abuse and neglect, and we don't want to see it continue. And that's really a lot of the kids that are in our care and youth that are in our care because they were subject to that, and a lot of them don't know better. So we want to provide them a different future and a different opportunity. So our maternity home is for young ladies under 18 years old. We've had as young as 11 years old come into care. Many of them incest, rape, trafficking, and they not only need the healing and to figure out who they are as a child, right? Somebody stole their childhood from them. But then we also have to prepare them for, okay, you're going to carry a child and bring a child into this world. Are you going to adopt? Are you going to keep that child or give that child up for adoption? Those are the two options for us, and prepare that young lady for what that's going to look like. And very unique to our maternity home, we will allow the young lady to come back and live with us for 6 to 12 months after having her baby. So most situations, I don't know of any organization in the United States that is a maternity home that once the young lady has their baby that they can come back. Usually they have to find housing outside of that. And that's where you start to see that cycle start over again, right? So if we're able to create that stability and that momentum and getting them on the right track, why would we not want to continue that? So they'll stay with us for anywhere from 6 to 12 months, maybe even a little bit longer if it's needed, because they're in school, they're working, they're saving money, they're trying to, again, learn who they are as a young lady. Imagine being 15 or 16 years old. Imagine being 11 or 12 years old. And then, getting them to transition into healthy adulthood. So what does that look like? And it's different from everybody. So that's a brief overview of who we're serving residentially. But our numbers, if you look back, um, just gosh, 4 years ago, we had only served, not only, but we had served about half of what we're serving now,
Wow.
20,000. This year, as of December 31st, this past year, we were at 40,000, and we're serving so many in the community, about 10,000 a year now on average.
Wow.
And it's really through our community outreach. So Shade Tree Family Outreach, you've been to the Stewart campus and
Yes.
you've seen. So, the families, the relative, non-relative caregivers who are taking in grandmothers, aunts, people in their family taking in sibling groups of all ages because their heart says yes, but they may not have the means necessary. We're able to come alongside them and provide the resources, diapers, wipes, formulas, pack and plays, cribs, all of those things that, a grandma maybe who hasn't had kids in her home in years says yes, but she needs to make sure that she has those needs. But at the same time, if mom is trying to reunify with her child, and we can provide some of the material support services, or if that's what's needed to keep a child in mom's placement without being removed, we can provide some of those material resources. We do that as well.
So, Jamie, it's been a little bit since I've spoken with you last, but you have expanded the campus here to Stewart,
Yep.
and you were looking at possibly expanding north of here. I don't know. This Place of Hope has grown so much over the last 24 years.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Yep.
Where are you at today? And talk a little bit more about the Stewart campus, because it was very
Yeah.
impressive. Last I was there, it was still being under construction, but
Yeah.
close to opening.
Well, I would love to have you come by sometime soon. We have two of our cottages about to open. July, August, we'll have some residents on the campus. One is our neighborhood family style foster home. That's the Marshall E. Rinker Senior Family Foundation Neighborhood Family Style Foster Care Home. It's a lot to say.
Yes, it is.
And that is for youth who are in foster care, very similar to the original model that I spoke about, keeping sibling groups together. That was another number that you touched on. It's very
Yes.
important to us. And then the other home is our Berlin Family Foundation in Mommy and Me Cottage. They have an enrichment center on our Gardens campus as well. So the Mommy and Me Cottage, and that's for young ladies who need that transition into healthy adulthood with a little less oversight, but have some children in care. So we'll have both of those open. The Stewart campus is, like I mentioned the last time I was here, I mean, we're rocking and rolling. And it's the support of the community. It's absolutely incredible. We had that lead gift of $4 million from Mr. John and Bobby Irby, and that named the village, the Bender Family Village, and it also named the first complex, affordable transitional housing complex, after the Snyder family.
Yes.
So all their legacy that they have created, David and John and Sheriff Snyder. So that is named in their honor. We've also had the Smith family and the DeLuca family come collaborate and gift naming the second affordable transitional housing complex. We launched with a $15 million renovation and expansion campaign, and we are at like 14.5.
Wow.
I mean, we're right there for phases 1 and 2. So that got us the Berlin Family Foundation Cottage, the Marshall E. Rinker Senior Family Foundation Cottage, and then the 2 affordable transitional housing complexes, Snyder and then Smith DeLuca. And then Carrie Mortgage, you might know Carrie from Impact 100, but she prides herself with the Mortgage Family Foundation of being a chief disruptor, and boy is she. Here locally and in Colorado and just nationwide, she recently gave us a gift of $1.5 million to open a new outreach center. So where our education and enrichment center is right now is temporarily our outreach center. So it was the quickest, most efficient way for us to immediately start serving the community in a greater way than we already were. But now that we're going to have residents on the campus, because that construction is almost done for those 2 cottages, we need to turn that back into an education enrichment center, which is a big critical layer of what we do. So we're going to start construction on the outreach center. So all of the diapers and the wipes and the formulas and the cribs and the shoes and the socks, all of that will eventually move to the outreach center. But we have a lot more to do. And it's an incredible blessing. Junior League of Martin County, the young ladies have gotten together and they're furnishing the Mommy and Me Cottage, so that they chose Place of Hope as one of their charities. And I mean, they're crushing it. So they're doing all sorts of parties with a purpose and different ways to help furnish both of those cottages.
Jamie, as I listen to you speak, one thing that I'm so grateful for with Place of Hope is it kind of fills that void. our law right now, you're 18, you're an adult, and it turns kids free, but they're not ready. A lot of them, they
Gosh.
don't have the skills and
Nor
ability. Or,
everyday kids aren't even ready, I think,
right.
to be out on their own. So, and they have a security net, a lot of times with a family or even some of our youth that have come into our care on our Boca campus. They were in college, working in college, and COVID shut down the dorms or
Right.
whatever, and now they literally are homeless because they don't have families to go back to for a variety of reasons. And yeah, thankfully we're able to serve them. We're building out our Kids Sanctuary campus as well. That's buildable land, as well as our Boca campus. Both of those will have more affordable transitional housing. So once we're done, in the grand scheme of things, in the next maybe 5 years total, we'll have over 200 beds of affordable transitional housing for those youth specifically.
How are you covering insurance costs, health insurance? I'm thinking you're bringing in moms that are pregnant, and that's extremely expensive to have
Yeah.
babies. So, how is that all covered through your
Sure,
organization?
great question. So everybody that's under 18 will get Medicaid. So whether that's a young lady, so in the maternity home, they can come into care under 18. They can turn 18 while they're in care with us, but they'll have the Medicaid and all of our foster youth as well. What we've really found is for those over 18, there just isn't good care.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not. And when you're serving such high levels of trauma of young ladies and men who have been sexually exploited and trafficked by family, gang members, whatever their situation is, it takes some really special and dedicated and committed people, and we can't find that in the system. So we are privately raising those dollars to be able to fund that. We're spending about $80,000 a year just in therapy for some of our youth, and not all of them go to that high level. Not all of them need that high level, but a lot of them do. And so yeah, we're privately funding that. We get some grants, we get some state funding. The governor obviously has been very favorable to Place of Hope, as well as our local legislators. Our Congress has been very favorable. And we'll take some of that funding, but we
Right.
really do like to be able to raise those funds privately. Gives us a little bit less red tape, and a little bit more freedom to run our organization. Like I said, we operate like a business, whereas most nonprofits kind of operate like a charity.
Right.
We really operate like a business, and we want to be social entrepreneurs. So anything that we can do to keep those dollars coming in. We have endowments across all of our campuses. Part of our I don't think I spoke about it last time I was here, but we launched just out of the silent phase. It's been about a year. Our God's Children, Our Future campaign. So it is a 10-year, $100 million campaign. We're about halfway, and that includes annual operating. It includes capital, building out those campuses that I mentioned, and then it includes the endowment because, Charles Bender, our CEO, has been here for 25 years. We're celebrating 24. Our COO has been here for 20 plus. I've been here for 10. Collectively, our executive team has been here for over 100 years serving the community. But at some point, we're going to pass on. And when do we pass that baton? And we want to make sure that we're creating a legacy for the youth today, tomorrow, and so on and so forth. So we want, the mission and the vision and what Place of Hope has been doing for almost 25 years in the community. We want that to live on far, far, far beyond us. So that endowment really focuses on that legacy and that perpetuity.
Again, we're speaking with Jamie Bond with Place of Hope. You can tell she is a wealth of information, very passionate. And like I said, it's the people behind the organization that makes them so special. And for you guys, 24 years is a baby
I know,
as far as
I know,
nonprofits.
yeah.
And you are extremely well, you do so well at what you do. It's amazing, all the lives that you've helped and touched. These last few years, have you noticed a big uptick? I mean, we went through COVID. We have a lot of warnings about people coming over through the border or on boat, what have you. So a lot of people are just struggling
Yeah.
for food and costs. So there's a lot of different areas out there that could be impacting an organization such as yours. So have you seen some uptick?
We have. I mean, it's a crazy world that we're in. How the state's placing kids. They want to put them in traditional foster care, not in traditional foster care. They're being placed more, ideally the state always wants to put them with relative and non-relative first, but when that's not an option, so we've seen a lot of changes there. We see with meth and fentanyl and opioids, and it's just, and then just the everyday average American is struggling in a lot of other ways.
Right.
And, we're finding people are unfortunately just surviving in a lot of ways. And it changes what your everyday looks like. It changes that dynamic. And the kids going to school and their education. So much of what we're doing for our youth coming into care, really, I mean, at any age, but gosh, if they're under about 12 or 13, it's we are doing as much as we can, as quickly as we can, taking advantage of every day, because most of these kids haven't had that. Their critical formative years have been disrupted. It's been trauma. I was meeting with a gentleman yesterday who said that I think he called it your software, meaning, your kind of motherboard is completely, your subconscious and your software has been developed by age 7. So subconsciously, you've taken in all sorts of egregious abuse, neglect, whatever that looks like. We had a young man, he was a sibling group of 5. 2 of the 5 lived their whole lives until 17 years old in a closet, ate out of a bucket, went to the bathroom in a bucket, lived in a closet. So emaciated. He looked like he was maybe 8 years old, and he was 17. The other 3 siblings didn't go through such trauma. So we're navigating a lot of those types of things, and our healthcare system is just not doing what it needs to do for our kids. So we're having to privately raise those dollars. And then, yes, not to be political or anything, but the reality is, we are seeing more and more and more gang traffickers. We are seeing more and more of our youth being groomed and vulnerable. It's a compound of things. You have mom and dad struggling, or dad's not in the picture, mom's struggling. Kids might be going to school, but they also might be exposed to our culture. Also, is just really going a direction that we don't want to see again. And you see it ebb and flow throughout the years of history. But with social media and just a lot of new areas for vulnerability and grooming, we're seeing so much of our youth really fall prey to these types of things. And when we have so many people here that don't know our culture, that don't know our laws, don't know our language, it's impacting a lot of things. It is. It's impacting our resources for our local law enforcement. It's impacting our just overall our economy. And we're really seeing some of those unfortunate situations of kids winding up here in the foster care system who really don't need to be in this situation if they weren't kind of brought here.
Well, thank goodness and thank God for Place of Hope, because you are doing God's work. And, to have an organization like this, what can folks do to help? I know you do a lot of fundraising throughout the year, a lot of things that are coming up. So and you can use volunteers any day of the week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was just talking to somebody the other day that said a volunteer hour, every volunteer hour is worth $31.99. So, people think sometimes all I'm doing is volunteering, or helping stuff some letters. You're not just volunteering. You are making such a difference. You are doing things that I still need to get to, but there's not enough time in the day. So we love our volunteers, whether it's mentoring and tutoring on the program side or on the advancement side, helping with events. I know you come to some of our events and helping advocate, whether it's buying a table or sponsorship, or volunteering on the event committee and bringing along friends who may not know about Place of Hope, doing things just like you're doing now, Parties with a Purpose, helping us advocate. We have 2 events coming up. Our Freedom's Future Dinner, that is, it's at Johnny Gray's Car Museum, an amazing 40,000 square foot car museum in Jupiter. This is formerly our Paradise on the Peninsula dinner that we did at Hope Sound Polo Club for several years, and they have been incredible hosts, and it is a gorgeous site. It's kind of bittersweet, but at the end of the day, we are in the state of Florida, and in October, November, we have hurricanes and we have a lot of heat. So we have been almost rained out several years, and then last year, anybody that came, God love them, they were just head to toe dripping. So that's moved to September 14th. And then we have our second annual Light in the Shadows Anti-Human Trafficking Luncheon. That's at Mar-a-Lago. That's December 7th. And Attorney General Ashley Moody is our keynote speaker, which
fantastic.
I think is pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yes. She's absolutely wonderful Attorney General. And her Representative Toby Oberdorf, really anti-human trafficking. We got to stop this. One thing I want to mention, too, with Place of Hope is accountability for those going through the program. You really hold those accountable. Not anybody can just come in. You just don't give them a free ride.
Correct. Yep. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to mention it's graduation season. We have a 99, if I could say 99.6 or 99.9% graduation rate of youth graduating high school, getting their GED, their certificate of completion. But not only that, they're getting their bachelor's degree, their associate's, their master's degree. We have 12 young adults graduating this year to not only graduate, but to to come from where they're coming from, so many of them statistically are more than 2 years behind their peers, to catch up and to graduate and to get scholarships. We have one young lady that just graduated from King's Academy. She's going to Hillsdale.
Oh, fantastic.
And she has been on she has received every chord, every stole, everything that you could, and just dynamite speaker. She is just out of this world. And that's what you're a part of. You know, that's what you're a part of. That's what you're a part of. Anybody that's listening and that's supporting, that's what you're a part of. And we say it. It's why our campaign is called God's Children, Our Future, because it's the truth. They are God's children, but they're our future. What is our community going to look like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years if we don't do something today?
That's right. And that gal just needs somebody to open the door for her.
Exactly.
She's obviously done all the work, and what a bright, exciting future she's going to have. But it's just that little bit of boost that this makes all the difference.
Yep.
And that's placeofhope.org. So
.com.
.com. Oh, thank you. I've been saying .org.
Well, we have a villagesofhope.net and a placeofhoperanker.org. Oh, the main one, placeofhope.com. So you're not wrong.
So Google Place of Hope, it'll come
yes.
up. So
we have lots of campuses. So yeah.
You do, Jamie. And again, the one here in Stewart is fairly new, and I can't wait to see the new cottages that are opening up, and just so many exciting